So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here again, and this is another episode of Mechanical Backroads Arizona. In this video, I'm going to be replacing the factory OEM bumper on my 2000 Jeep TJ Wrangler. Now, the main reason I'm doing this is because I needed to add a receiver hitch to this bumper so I would have the ability to pull a small trailer if needed. The other reason I ended up doing this is because I have been looking on Amazon for quite some time for a rear bumper, and it just so happened I came across one was on sale. Furthermore, when I was looking at the one, because it was on sale, they had a very good used one that was available for right around $155, which made it very reasonably priced, and I went ahead and got it coming for that reason. Now, in the description for this bumper, it does say it's a direct bolt-on, no drilling or cutting necessary. I found that partially to be true because the OEM bumper only had 4 bolts holding it in place. Plus, there was an additional 2 bolts that weren't even being used that were on that OEM bumper, and I don't know if that's just specific to my Jeep or whether that's going to be on all Jeeps if they don't already have a receiver hitch on them. And the new aftermarket bumper that I got had those exact same 4 holes, so theoretically you could just bolt it in like that. And if you're just putting this bumper on strictly for cosmetic reasons and you don't plan on using the recovery shackles or the receiver hitch, then that's fine. However, because I had a receiver hitch now and I wanted to be able to pull a small trailer if necessary, plus I do like to go off-roading and I tend to do dumb shit, so those recovery shackles might come in handy as well. There was an additional 6 more bolt holes, and I wanted to make use of those so there was more holding power. I did drill into the rear chassis support bracket to give that bumper more holding strength to the chassis of the vehicle, because of the added stress that will be put on that bumper to the chassis from using either of those 2 items. Now, we are Amazon affiliates, and I will put the link to the bumper that I installed in this vehicle in my description if you want to get that coming. And even if you're not getting this exact same bumper, this video should help you out if you are thinking of replacing your OEM bumper with an aftermarket one, because I'd be willing to bet that all of the aftermarket bumpers are going to bolt on pretty much identically to this one. And I'm going to show you how I did it. So let's get to it. So obviously the first thing that has to be done is remove the OEM bumper. And in order to do that, the first thing you'll have to do is remove the end caps off of the bumper. This requires a Torx 30 in order to remove the 2 screws that are on top, and there's 2 more that are on the bottom. Once removing those 4 screws, you should be able to pull that plastic end cap out of the bumper. By removing the end caps, it will give you access to remove the bolts that actually hold the metal part of the bumper to the chassis. The passenger side end cap came pretty much right out. However, the driver's side played a little bit harder to get, but I was able to get it out. Once the end caps are off, then you will need an 18mm wrench in order to get the top nut off. I was able to use my impact with a socket on the bottom nut. After removing both nuts, I did verify it felt like it was loose and there was nothing else holding that side. Then I went through the same process on the other side. Once all 4 of those nuts are removed, you should be able to pull the bumper assembly off of the chassis. And it is pretty light, so it is doable by one person. Now, they do say in this kit for this rear bumper that all the hardware is included, and it did come with enough hardware to mount this bumper. However, I used 2 extra bolts, nuts, and washers to do some additional reinforcement for this new aftermarket bumper to the chassis. Once again, because I was planning on towing a trailer. Now, one huge difference between the OEM bumper and the aftermarket one was the weight. I would say that OEM bumper weighed less than 20 pounds. This bumper weighs just over 70 pounds, so it did take both of us to lift it up and hold it in place while I got the bolts started. So to get started, I installed the 4 bolts through the aftermarket bumper into the original OEM holes that were in the chassis and tightened those down by hand. Then, using a paint marker, I marked the other 4 holes, 2 on each side, on the inside of those mounting holes that were in that aftermarket bumper to the chassis, so I could pull the bumper back off and then go ahead and drill those holes out. Now, this is where I messed up. I should have went ahead and tightened down 1 bolt on each side to pull that bumper completely up into place before marking those holes, and I'll explain why in just a minute. And before ever trying to drill a chassis on any vehicle, make sure you check behind it to make sure there's no electrical harnesses or hoses behind it. In this case, there is a fuel tank very close to where you're drilling, and you do need to be careful. So after taking the bumper back off, you can see I have a nice clear marking on the top. The bottom one I got a little excessive with. So I did measure the holes on the bumper and then made sure that my marking was correct before drilling the bottom hole. I started with a small pilot hole to make sure I got that drill bit exactly where I needed to on the passenger side. You'll notice that I have a piece of hose around the bigger drill bit. I did not want to end up pushing it too far and possibly going into the fuel tank, so that's why I put that little piece of hose on there. As soon as it hit that piece of hose, it basically stops the drill bit from getting sucked into the frame. Now my holes went good on the passenger side with the way I just told you. I got lazy on the second side and just went ahead and went with the bigger drill bit to start. And because I didn't do that pilot drill bit, the drill bit actually walked down, as you can see it right there, and I just didn't notice it. That compounded with the laziness that I did not tighten the bolts fully down. I just put them hand tight. When making the marks, those two holes on the driver's side ended up being low. And because of that, I ended up having to get a die grinder and oblong those holes up a little bit on the chassis to make them at the appropriate height. So by me trying to save a couple minutes by not tightening those bolts down to start before making the holes and then not drilling the pilot holes first, ended up costing me about 10 minutes of extra work die grinding those holes out to the appropriate height. And that's not even mentioning the fact that the tighter the hole to the bolt is, the stronger it is, and by having to waller those out a little bit, it did make those holes a little weaker, but there's still plenty of holding force for this bumper. After oblonging those holes, the tricky part was getting the bolts in the driver's side frame rail, because the fuel tank went a little bit farther to the driver's side chassis than the passenger side. So I had to use a magnet to hold the bolt with a washer on it and work that up through the small opening between the fuel tank and the chassis that I'm showing you right here in this little clip to get those bolts in place. Once getting both of those bolts in place, then I went ahead and put the bumper back on. Now, just for sakes of this video, because there was two of us, but I did it with just one person by putting the one side up and getting one bolt started, then leveraging the other side up and got it started by myself, just to see if it's feasible to do it by yourself in case you don't have a second set of hands to help out. And it wasn't really that bad to do. One thing I would suggest is maybe getting a longer bolt just to get the first bolt started so you get a little bit farther away from the back of the Jeep when putting it up in place so you don't possibly scratch it. Once getting all 8 of the bolts started on the back of the chassis to the bumper, then I did want to use the extra 2 mounting holes going vertically as well, once again for the extra holding power, and I had to use a magnet with a 3/8 bolt in order to get it through that hole and then put the nut on the bottom side. Supposedly there are supposed to be threads in the frame for this on a nut cert. However, I did not see that. Maybe they were there, maybe they weren't, but this ended up working out okay. Now, if you don't want to go through the hassle of dealing with the magnet like I'm doing in this video, I do have an alternative for you. Because this Jeep uses a boxed in frame, you can use nut certs in order to install in the frame, and then all you have to worry about is tightening the bolt into that nut cert. I actually had to replace the nut certs that were originally in the frame for the skid plate to help hold the transmission, because the original ones were rusted out when I went to pull it down. And I will also put the kit that I used to do those nut certs in my description as well if you want to get those coming. If I would have known how much more of a pain in the ass it would have been to get these extra bolts installed in this chassis and in this bumper from the get-go, I would have ordered another nut cert kit that I used on that skid plate and done that on this rear bumper. However, because I had it off and I had to get this going so it was a usable item again, I did not take the time to order that nut cert kit in time, and that's why I went the route I did with installing this bumper. Once I had all 10 of the bolts in with the nuts on them and started by hand, I tightened all of those down. Now, I did feel like I was a little bit on the struggle bus trying to get the inner bolts tightened down on the rear chassis support because of the tight gap between the fuel tank and the chassis, but I was able to get it done. And that was mostly on the driver's side. The passenger side really wasn't that bad on those inner bolts. And in order to tighten the 2 vertical ones down, I did use washers, lock washers, and regular nuts, because sometimes when using an impact with that lock washer, it will tighten down on its own, which I did have happen to me. Even though I did use a 3/8 bolt, and if necessary, I could have gotten a 9/16 wrench up through that oblong hole further up in the frame in order to hold the head of that bolt if necessary. Once tightening down all 10 of the bolts that were holding this bumper in place, then all that was left to do is go ahead and install the D-rings. Now, you can just put these on and put them in hand tight. In my case, I didn't want to do that because I just planned on leaving these D-rings on the bumper at all times, and I didn't want somebody being able to come by and just unscrew them and steal them. So I took a pair of channel locks and tightened down the bolt, so you would at least need a tool in order to take them off and not just be able to unthread them by hand. That is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it and it gave you some good information. If so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. The whole concept of my channel is to give you guys the most information in the least amount of time as possible so I don't waste your time. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Later.